Welcome to Eat Baila Travel. This is Jenny and I'm Kevin. If this is your first time joining us, we're two Mexican Americans that decided to move from Chicago to Mexico. We started to explore our options in January in Veracruz, then Yucatan, and now Oaxaca. Be sure to check out our previous videos so you can see what cities we've considered as our potential home.
In today's video, we reflect on the time we've spent in Puerto Escondido and on whether or not it's a candidate for our potential future home. When in search of a new city to call home, these are the things that we look for the most. We're looking at size, safety, climate, food, health, and dance scene.
Starting with size, Puerto Escondido is considered for us a small city. It has about a population of about 45,000 people living in it. It feels like a very small city, but at the same time it feels larger than a small city because of the beaches alongside Puerto Escondido make it feel so much bigger. But the truth is that walking around, when you go get a haircut, you might catch your barber at the beach, you might catch him at Chedraui. That's the magic of a small city, and that's why we like it.
Yeah, and it's also super walkable. I really like that you can walk from one end of town to another if you really like walking, about 30 to 45 minutes. So the fact that it's walkable is great. I really like that. But there are also really great modes of transportation. There are colectivos and combis, like shared rides. There are, of course, taxis, and there's a taxi app that the local taxis use called Didi. So if you're in the area and you want to get a taxi, definitely check out Didi. It's a great option for more affordable transportation. And of course, there's the airport. Puerto Escondido does have its own airport.
Very small, but
it is very tiny, and most of the flights are in and out of Mexico City. There are some that also go to Oaxaca City, but you're more likely to find cheaper flights to Mexico City to then travel wherever you need to go, because Mexico City pretty much travels anywhere.
I mean, it's kind of a pro and a con. To have an airport is obviously a pro, but the con is that you really have to leave Puerto and go to Mexico City in order to go anywhere else. You can't just fly from Puerto Escondido to Chicago. So it's kind of a small con, small little nitpick,
Yeah.
but hey, we have an airport.
Yeah. So another pro / also kind of a con is you have Oaxaca City relatively close. And I say relatively because in distance it's not really all that far, but it is at least a 7 to 8 hour drive if you're driving. So you can do an overnight or a daytime mini, combis?
Yeah,
they're like shared minivans.
Like 16 passenger vans.
Yep, and there are pickup locations all over the city for those.
Moving on to safety, Puerto Escondido tends to be a relatively safe city. I think the most dangerous thing you need to be careful with is the ocean. This is no joke.
The waves can be pretty seriously dangerous. So if you're not an avid swimmer, definitely be super careful with the waves, or at least check out the beaches that have calmer waves.
And even if you're an avid swimmer, sometimes there's currents within the oceans and you want to be careful. Make sure you always ask the surfers that they would know the best in terms of current. But yeah, I mean, walkability, you can walk anywhere really.
Yeah,
safety.
in terms of safe, is it safe to walk around at night? Absolutely. We've always felt safe walking around at night. There is tons of police, but not overly intimidating police presence. The locals tell us that Puerto is a really safe city, that they love it in terms of compared to safety in the rest of Mexico. They hope that it stays that way, and I hope so too. So we've not only felt safe, but we like to go and ask the locals to confirm that what we feel is in fact true. Next up, climate. Climate is super important to us because one of the reasons that we're leaving Chicago is because we're so done with winter. So yes, Puerto Escondido, because it's on the coast, is definitely quite hot. It's a tropical climate, very hot and humid, but how hot? It gets to be around 90 degrees Fahrenheit high during the day, pretty much all year round. And then the evenings, what would you say? It's like around
70s, 80s.
High 70s, maybe low 80s in the evenings. So yeah, it's pretty hot. And there's a rainy season and there's a dry season. Rainy season is from about May to July, August. And dry season is around November to March.
Yeah. Dry season's really nice. Because there's no mosquitoes around. During rainy season, you get a whole lot more mosquitoes.
Yeah.
They get you. So that's a little con, but
also the clouds. Puerto Escondido has some of the most amazing sunsets I have
yeah.
ever seen. But during rainy season, there tends to be more clouds in the sky, obviously. So sometimes, if you're lucky, you'll still get a good evening with a sunset and it's not too cloudy. But if you are a sunset lover and you definitely want to visit during dry season, so you're better chances of having an amazing sunset every single night.
Puerto Escondido, the heat compared to Mérida, it's not even close because Mérida is so enclosed, it's such an enclosed city that the closest beach is about 35 minutes away. Puerto Escondido gets that help from the beaches surrounding it or lakeshore, the beaches next to it, that you get a nice cool breeze at night to have a good night's sleep.
So even though it's super hot, it's not just like heat that's like unbearably blazing on top of you. The ocean breeze helps to kind of push it out of the way, and it's still enjoyable. I think that's why it's hot, but it's super pleasant still.
Moving on to my favorite subject, food. Oh, where do we start with food? It's hard to say that it's my favorite place to eat, but it's easy to say that it's my favorite place to eat.
I'm like looking at you like, why are you saying that? I've heard you say time and time again.
No, Oaxaca thus far has been my favorite place to eat. Aside from Veracruz is also delicious, but Oaxaca is my place to eat. Like, I've always liked, food that's not so fried. And in Oaxaca, you get all these varieties of tortillas, horneadas, baked, big tortillas, small tortillas, corn tortillas.
It's like the healthiest versions of tortillas I've ever seen in Mexico.
And they're so thin, they're so delicious, so crunchy. I love crunchy tortillas. So Oaxaca is a place for me in terms of food. Cheese.
El quesillo.
Quesillo, which is queso Oaxaca.
It's just one of the amazing cheeses. There are tons of others.
Right.
Then there's seafood.
Oh my God.
We love oysters and shrimp and fresh fish. Like, there's an abundance of that. And then, octopus season. Okay.
Octopus.
I'm getting hungry.
Fruit.
Fresh fruit every single day, all year round. Not the same fruit all year round, but all year you're gonna get some sort of fruit fresh, and it's just amazing. It makes me feel so healthy and happy. And
there's so much fruit that it's bad for your safety. You could be walking around and get hit by a mango.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say that.
But
there are mango trees that if you're not careful, you might get hit.
But damn, Oaxacan food so far, the best of all in Mexico.
And on top of that, Puerto Escondido happens to have some of the coolest international food options I've seen in a city of that size. It's such a small city, so I'm super impressed to find Japanese restaurants, Polish restaurants, Middle Eastern restaurants.
Pierogies.
Right?
We used to have pierogies back in Chicago, now we can find them here,
They have amazing Italian food. It just goes on and on and on, and I think it just speaks to like this really cool combination of local, authentic culture, but coexisting with this metropolitan, welcoming of foreign cultures as well. Like, it's such a cool oasis to me. Granted, it's not perfect, but in food-wise, it's quite a paradise. Yeah.
Obviously, because we eat so much in Puerto Escondido, it's important to stay fit. You have so many options here to stay fit. You can go swimming, you can go hiking, you can go biking, surfing.
You can take surf lessons, which we did.
There's gyms everywhere for you to go work out.
And again, walking around town, because of it's not a flat city. There's subidas y bajadas. So just walking around, you'll definitely get a workout in.
So fitness is a huge check mark, and it's easy access.
There are tons of social gatherings, like groups of people who get together to play basketball, to play soccer on Mondays, to play volleyball every day around 6 p.m. on the beach. There's an endless opportunities of ways to stay fit and active, and I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And health-wise, hospitals, there's 2 hospitals, a public one and a private one. We hear that the private one is really good. Thankfully, we haven't had the chance to go there yet.
We haven't had the need to go there.
The need to go there, yeah. But
they have pretty much everything. We went to the dentist and we got dental cleanings for 600 pesos. I had some cavity fillings replaced, really good work. But anyway, they have everything except one downside is that it doesn't look like they have a really great trauma center. So if there was ever a bad car accident or something of the sort, they don't have the best equipment there. We've heard of some cases where people have had to get flown out to a different city for emergencies. But yeah, that would be a downside. But otherwise, there's pretty much all kinds of specialties there. And then if the need was there to go to a different city, well, then the airports are there. Or hopefully that's not going to be the case.
And of course, last but not least, the dancing. What do you think of the dancing?
Oh, I love it. So the dance scene in Puerto is relatively small.
Yeah.
It's a really, really small dance community, but there's lots of potential there because there is a place to dance about every night of the week.
Except Sundays.
Except Sundays, that's right. Because of the pandemic, a lot of places have been shut down. So we were hoping to get some cool footage to show you all and let you know where all the good dancing spots are. But because things are shut down right now, that's going to have to wait for a future video. But while we were there, we did get to talk to lots of people and visit a few places. So there are a lot of dance options. Salsa, bachata, cumbias, and live salsa groups too. There was a really great Cuban salsa group that we met one night.
Right before everything started shutting down.
Yeah, right before everything started shutting down.
So there's potential for growth, and we like that because maybe we can
help
share
be
our
a part
skills.
of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So those were our 6 priorities when searching for a new city to call home. So in terms of Puerto Escondido, as we reflect and think about where that sits in terms of our choices, I think it's definitely a very strong contender and might even be quite close to beating out Mérida. It has a lot of what Mérida has in terms of the climate, the food is great, maybe even a little better, I think, and safety, size, transportation. But
for being such a small place, it feels so good to walk 3 blocks and have Italian food, and walk another block and go get your groceries, and then walk another block and have tacos. So that's what's nice about Puerto Escondido.
And I will add that it's also more affordable than Mérida in terms of houses and rent and food. We do like that, so it might even come out on top at the end. But remember, we're not done exploring yet. We're gonna be making our way up north next. So if you have any suggestions for us, please let us know in the comments. Let us know which cities we should check out. I think someone mentioned Querétaro. Let us know if you think that's good. We're gonna check that out. Maybe San Miguel de Allende.
Well, we went to San Miguel de Allende. Right?
Yeah, we were there for 2 days. I feel like that wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, but we're gonna head up north, and so far the way we have it planned is that we're gonna go to Zacatecas, San Luis, Querétaro, maybe Hidalgo, maybe come back to San Miguel de Allende. So make sure you stay tuned and subscribe so you can follow along with our journey.
So far that brings us to 3 cities that we really, really like as potential future homes. That's Orizaba, Mérida, and now Puerto Escondido. And who knows, there might be some more strong contenders coming up soon. So thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you come back soon. And as always, se cuidan,
se bañan y nos vemos hasta la próxima.
Ciao.
Ciao.